Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again, my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, how are you, man?
Hey, what's up, dude? Friday night, enjoying myself out of the gym, and yeah, just chilling like a villain, dude. Straight up.
There you go. Are you sad that Akira Toriyama has passed away?
To be honest, not really. I mean, I did grow up watching Dragon Ball Z in Mexico, but I don't know. I'm gonna say after maybe when I turned like 13 or 14, I just completely stopped watching it, and ever since then, I just find it cringy. To be honest with you.
Yeah, the new stuff is pretty cringy. But yeah, you've always been more of a Pokemon guy, right?
Yeah, big time. I mean, you can tell right there, man. It's
Yeah. Well, man, today we're going to be discussing, I think it's going to be a cool one, kind of the performance of the USMNT players in Europe, specifically who we rank as the top five performers this season so far, as of March 8th, 2024, where the European season is kind of at the three-quarter mark. We're going to rank our top five, and then we're going to give a couple of honorable mentions as well. Let's get right into it, man. Starting at number five, we're going to start at number five and go down to who we feel is going to be the number one best performer in Europe so far. Number five, I think, is somebody who maybe because of the lack of playing time he's had so far this season, a lot of people might not put him on a list. But I think from what he's shown in the few matches he's played, and to his credit, it hasn't been because of lack of trying; it's been because of injury. We have joshsargent as number five, someone who has played 16 matches out of the 36 matches they've played so far in the championship. The championship, as we know, has 46 matches in total. And he's missed 20 of those games due to the injury that kind of forced him out at the beginning of the season. But, man, in the 16 matches played, he has 11 goals and 1 assist so far this season. Adrian, I know you're a big fan of joshsargent. You're kind of one that's always pushing for him to be the number one forward or striker for the USMNT ahead of Pepi and Balogun, especially when he's not injured. What do you think of joshsargent? Do you think he's deserving a ranking on this list?
This is an exquisite choice, my friend. I wouldn't. I know I'm gonna sound super biased just because with the little preamble you just gave, but yeah, I think so far. I mean, if you take a picture of all of the available strikers right now in Europe, you consider Balogun, Pepi, Daryl Dike, and so on. Haji Wright, Jordan Peacock, and we just go to the numbers, right? I don't think anyone can match. Maybe Pepe, but I don't think anyone can match the numbers that Josh Sargent has. 11 goals, 16 matches, 1 assist. Seven out of the last 11, seven goals came on the last 11 matches he just played, which he just basically came back from injury and hit the ground running. I think it's definitely a good spot for him right now. If we were to end the season right at this moment, fifth place for the best USMNT player in Europe for 2023-2024 is a definitely a good spot for George Sargent.
Yeah, he is the tied for the number one scoring forward striker in Europe for USMNT. With Haji Wright. Haji Wright has 11 goals. The only difference is that Haji Wright has 11 goals and 5 assists in 34 matches played,
Mhm.
while joshsargent has those 11 goals and 16. PFOC has 5 goals and 2 assists in 18 matches, and in 19 matches, Ricardo Pepi has 6 goals and 1 assist. So definitely for the amount of minutes played and the amount of matches played, joshsargent way ahead in terms of any other striker in Europe. Moving on to number 4. Another one that could be questionable, depending on how you look at it, but someone that just made his move to Europe in December, late December, to La Liga, specifically Real Betis, Johnny Cardoso, playing there so far 7 matches, 1 goal in La Liga, 2 La Liga assists, 611 minutes played, and he's also played 2 matches, completely 180 minutes in the Europa Conference League. Maybe not the flashiest of numbers. I mean, he is kind of a number 6, right, a holding midfielder, so he's never going to score all these crazy amount of goals or have all these assists, right? But 1 goal, 2 assists, and 7 matches for La Liga as a number 6 is good. And somebody that has gone in and automatically won that starting spot, made that starting spot his own, and he's coming into the March Nations League camp for the USMNT as probably the hottest player, going into this camp. Johnny Cardoso obviously came from Brazil. He was playing in the Brazil Serie A, and now he is out there in Real Betis tearing it up, man. Are you a fan of this choice?
I am a fan of this choice, and I'll tell you why. Because in the times where the USMNT is missing a Tyler Adams, Johnny Cardoso has made it seem that we don't. Well, I don't. Not we, but making it seem like the USMNT doesn't really need Tyler Adams anymore. Um, and he's only been there for a few months, but what I've read so far everywhere online, and at least on some of the shows that I follow on YouTube about La Liga, everyone seems to agree that Johnny Cardoso has pretty much been a shoe in, or I guess pretty much plug and play replacement for Real Betis. Not only in the sense of being a drop-in replacement for Guido Rodriguez, who's been injured or was injured, but also provide even more coverage now that Andres Guardado is also out of Real Betis. Um, I
Yep.
think this again, no-brainer for me. Number 4 seems okay. He just gets that slight advantage that doesn't have that many matches, and maybe that's why his impact seems so big. We'll see if he can recreate this kind of, I guess, impact next season whenever he has a chance to play a year long with Betis.
Yeah, let's see if he could make it a long term impact. Because we see frequently players have that spike where they perform for a good 7-10 games, right, and then they dip in form. Hopefully that's not the case with Johnny Cardoso. He's been performing very well, and he earns number 4 on our rankings so far this season. Number 3, Christian Pulisic, AC Milan. He has played 25 of the 27 matches that AC Milan has played so far in the Serie A season. He has 7 goals and 6 Serie A assists. 1,838 minutes played in the Serie A. He also has 1 goal in 6 matches played in the Champions League. Ultimately, they were knocked out of the Champions League after the group stage, and so they are in the Europa League. He's played 3 matches, and he scored 1 goal in the Europa League. Christian Pulisic, somebody who needed to get out of his club situation last year, being at Chelsea, not seeing a lot of minutes, has found a lifeline and has found his form, his footing here at AC Milan. Has been, knock on wood, injury free for the most part. Hopefully that's stays. We saw him take a lot of hits these past couple weeks. He's caused 3 red cards in 2 matches to the opposition. He's just been targeted a lot frequently. But yeah, Christian Pulisic, somebody who's since moving to AC Milan has been one of their best players, if not their best player, and has won the best player for AC Milan, I think, on 2 occasions, 2 months. Somebody who we thought could maybe struggle a little bit just because of the competition there with Rafa Leao and a couple others, but no, he's definitely earned his starting spot and is an integral part to this AC Milan team. So Christian Pulisic, number 3. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, good choice. When we're getting to the top 3 in here, I think the difference between Christian Pulisic and the top 2 USMNT players in Europe for at least so far this season, it's very minimal, very small nuances kind of thing. But to echo your comments, I think the fact that AC Milan's current coach really likes having Christian Pulisic around in the team. The fact that Christian Pulisic is not necessarily struggling with injuries as significant as he did with whenever he was playing in the Premier League has actually helped them to settle that in that specific rhythm of play. This only benefits the USMNT in the long run. So kudos to him. I really hope that he can do even better as the season continues and he scores more goals, makes more assists. But it seems that this was the best move that he could have done, other than maybe going back to Borussia Dortmund. But hey, he's in AC Milan. He's in a relevant team in Serie A, and he's not getting injured.
Yeah, so that's all we can ask for at this point.
For real.
Moving on. I agree with you though. What you said. These top 3 are probably. It's just minuscule, right? The differences here. They've all been performing well. That's why they're the top 3 for the USMNT. And number 2, we have Weston McKennie. 25 Serie A matches for Juventus. He's played in all of them except for two that he's missed out. One of those because of this recent injury, and another one just because he was benched earlier in the season. But he has 5 Serie A assists, no goals, though he has had a lot of chances at goals that have been kind of, those situationals where they're right about across the line and then the forward or the striker puts it in. So that's happened to him a couple times, but he has 5 assists, 2,047 Serie A minutes played. So he's played more minutes in those 25 matches than Christian Pulisic. But yeah, Weston McKennie, who we at the beginning of the season and a lot of pundits thought was going to leave Juventus. It was said that Allegri was not a fan, and he was going to move him on. But ultimately, he stayed, fought for his spot, and won the spot right at the beginning of the season. And has not let it go. He obviously got that injury a couple weeks ago, but he is being said to be ready for this weekend already after just 2 weeks. So Weston McKennie, number 2 in our ranking, Juventus midfielder.
He's scrappy, dude. He is a scrappy. I mean, the move to Leeds wasn't necessarily beneficial for him. Maybe in terms of playtime, right? But I think it served its purpose to remind him that if he really wanted to remain at a competitive team playing at a top notch league, he needed to pick himself up, go back to the basics, and just fight for the spot in Juventus. I am not necessarily surprised that he was able to win that undisputed starting 11 spot in Juventus. But I never thought it was gonna be. At least he's making it seem as that it was easy for him to just find himself into the starting 11 and nestle in that roster. I mean, we all know that it's not an easy roster to compete in, but the fact that he's just pushing himself to be the go-to for Allegri, just goes to show that he has improved his game significantly from last season.
Yeah, like you said, Juventus is not an easy squad to win a spot and keep that spot. We've seen Tim Weah kind of on the opposite end of that, not being able to win the spot there for Juventus. And frequently in the beginning of the season, Allegri was switching out between Tim Weah and Weston McKennie as at a defensive position, a right back position. But now ultimately he found that Weston McKennie best position is kind of in the midfielder, so as a midfield. So he's been playing a lot of the 3-5-2 position, where he has Weston McKennie there kind of with Rabiot and Lucatelli. So yeah, one position that he those aren't scrubs, right? So he has done enough to win the starting spot there, and that has him on our number 2 as our number 2 on our list. And you guys might be wondering who is number 1. We have Pulisic, McKennie already here. Number 1 is somebody who's probably playing in the best league of on the planet, the Premier League, consistently plays almost every match. He has 26 Premier League matches played. He's only missed 1 Premier League match this season. 5 assists, 2,288 minutes played. Of course, we're talking about the left back for Fulham, Anthony Jedirobinson, who is, I think, the most consistent American player in Europe. To lock down a left back, a defensive role in a Premier League team, that says something. That is a big accomplishment, and he's definitely one of Fulham's best players. And we might see him move on to a bigger club at the end of the season. But Jedirobinson, number 1 on our list.
No, yeah, totally, deserved, dude. Kudos to Anthony Robinson. I don't think there's any doubt right now that he is perhaps the best USMNT player in Europe at the moment. I think we're seeing his last matches with Fulham. There's no way he's gonna stay there. I hope so. I really hope that he doesn't stay there. I know that Liverpool was close to close to his camp and seeing if he's willing to move somewhere else. But the other thing that is also valuable with Anthony Robinson is that he's healthy. He is healthy almost throughout the entire year. He only missed 1 match, and I'm not even sure if it was due to injury. But it just baffles me that in a league that is as competitive as the Premier League, that is as physical as the Premier League, and as demanding as it is, his body's not taking a toll. Like he's playing every single match for Fulham,
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
So
we saw Brendan Aarons and Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie miss a lot of matches for Leeds last year because of
mhm,
injuries, and this guy is playing every season, injury free. Hopefully, it
exactly.
stays that way. Knock on wood.
And I think he's a very well balanced player. He's a good defender. He can actually go up front and join the attack. The fact that he can run the entire pitch without any difficulty is just a huge plus for any player in a league like the Premier League. So yeah, at this point in time, if we are to end the season as of today, Anthony Robinson deserves to be the number one spot on anyone's ranking of the best USMNT players in Europe.
Yeah, and you brought up a good point that he's kind of very good going forward, but also defensive. That was something that a lot of generated a lot of criticism for him earlier in his career, maybe 2 to 3 years ago, where he was good going up, but not necessarily the best defender. After the couple years have passed, he's developed very well his defensive prowess, his defensive ability, his positioning, and he doesn't leave those gaping holes now going when he goes forward in the defense. He's able to track back, he's able to cover, he's able to come inside, and he just is able to just a better defender all around, right? While maintaining those attacking abilities. We've seen him score goals for the USMNT. We know he's got a foot, he's got a strike. So yeah, I mean he's an all around, well rounded left back, some the type of left back that is very much needed in modern football.
I mean, to be honest, if the big teams like Liverpool wanted him, they can probably snatch him, and Liverpool can move Alexander Arnold more up front to be a winger and have Anthony Robinson as a defender, right? That would be a killer left side for
Yeah.
Liverpool.
Well, that's our top five. We gotta before we wrap up here mention a couple honorable mentions. We got the duo from PSV, Serginodest and Malik Tillman. Don't have Pepi in here just because he hasn't solidified really a starting spot. He's got
Mm-hmm.
6 goals, 1 assist in limited time, Pepi, so he's doing well learning under the Jung. But Serginodest has really proved himself. Malik Tillman has proved himself. There's talk that Serginodest might have a chance back at Barcelona next season again. Now that Xavi's out. So we'll see. I mean, he's performed well. I still think Barcelona is too big of a club for him. But we could see maybe him staying at PSV or maybe making another, maybe one step down from Barcelona move, but being at a good club team this summer. Definitely performed well. Malik Tillman has come out to be one of the best, forwards, one of the revelations for the USMNT this summer. This EuroLeague, and Luca de la Torre for Celta Vigo. Like you said earlier, Adrian, Tyler Adams, missing him, but you really don't miss him once you have people like Luca de la Torre and Johnny Cardoso kind of stepping in to that number 6 role, right?
Yeah, look at Torres is a sleeper, dude. Like he doesn't call or get the spotlight that often, but he is a very regular player for Celta de Vigo, and he is actually a crucial one as well. I know that he isn't necessarily the playmaker for them, but he's one of those puppeteers in the middle, directing Celta de Vigo. Granted, they are not competing for anything big, but hey, man, you're getting playtime on a regular basis at a competitive league. It basically is going to guarantee you a spot in the USMNT.
Yeah, especially when
Mhm.
that number 6 role is kind of not a lot of players in there right now with Tyler Adams'
Mhm.
injury. It's really just
Yes.
him and
Mhm.
Johnny
Mhm.
Cardoso fighting for that starting spot right now.
Mhm.
Speaking of Tyler Adams, he might be back this weekend. Apparently, he's healthy enough to start for not start, but maybe make an appearance for Bournemouth. So we might see him this Premier League weekend, and we might see him for the Nations League suiting up. I don't think it's time for him to start for the USMNT. I think
No.
he's coming back from injury. There's better players at this point, but yeah, it's Tyler Adams. A quick update on him. But Adrian, man, this was our top 5 players for USMNT in Europe so far this season. If you guys enjoyed this video, we're going to make one for the La Selección Mexicana as well. El Tri's top 5 performing players so far in Europe. So stick here with PPG. Adrian, man, as we wrap up this episode, dude, where can listeners find us?
Hey man, you can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Instagram. and YouTube Shorts if you want to see some stuff we post there every now and then. And we're close to the 500 subscribers, dude. So please help us out. That will mean a lot to us. Yeah, we'll once we hit 500, you might enter a chance to win something. So stay tuned.
Yeah, make sure to stick here and like Adrian said, subscribe. And let us know in the comments below. Do you agree with this list we put together? Was there anybody you think maybe deserved more being in the top five than the five we decided on, or anybody we missed out on honorable mentions? And who has been, in your opinion, the worst performing player for the USMNT in Europe this season? Let us know in the comments. We definitely like interacting with you guys. Adrian, man, another good one, brother. I hope you enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Always a pleasure, my guy.
Likewise. See ya.
Deuce.